Like, Ibrahim is going to tell us everything that has made it to the paper this morning. Also, we're going to have a very important interview where we talk about the girl child. At some point, we'll go to Abuja where we speak on INEC. And then we come back to Lagos where the beautiful Olamide will tell us everything that is happening all around the world. We're trending now. So please grab your cup of coffee and let's have a fantastic show. Now, we'll start with a story where the National Council of State has approved the nomination of Professor Joash Amupitan, a senior advocate of Nigeria, as the new chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission. Now, President Bola Tinubu presented Amupitan's name following the exit of Professor Mahmood Yakub, who served as INEC chairman from 2015 to October 2025. Now, Professor Amupitan, age 58, hails from Ayetoro in Kogi State, making him the first nominee from the North Central State to head the electoral body. Now, President Tinubu described him as a political and highly qualified person, a professor of law at the University of Jos. Amupitan specializes in company law and corporate governance and currently serves as the university's Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration. Now, council members backed the nomination, with Kogi Governor Usman Ododo calling him a man of integrity. Now, his name will now be forwarded to the Senate for screening. This is our conversation this morning. We're talking about Professor Joash. This is a person that we know that he went to Kwara State University. He was called to the bar in 1988. People describe him as very, strict but fair. But a lot of Nigerians are saying that he has a lot of responsibility in his hands right now, considering the fact that 2027 is coming, all the legacies that, Yakub had already put on ground. Is he somebody that will be able to follow through with it? But Etoma, I know that there are a lot of reactions on social media and online, but what do you make of this? But we know that the Senate is still going to do screening for him, but so far, what do you make of this?
Anytime I think about it, I think of Mrs. Mbu first.
You said so.
Yes, the lady must have heaved a sigh of relief. So somebody has been appointed. However, he's still not been cleared by the Senate. We're just seeing him as the one that will be for now. Officially, he is not yet. However, he has been described as a man that has a lot of very principled person. All his degrees are from the same university, and he did not only do that, but made a name for himself in the university. That now, if you are an alumni of the University of Jos and told you that he is the next person, you will definitely say, okay, yes, I think that's the right person because of because of the life he had led in that university, and the people see him as a man that is really principled and strong. However,
has to come in.
2027 is just around the corner. There's so much work to do. First of all, he has to get himself in INEC, get to know the people he can work with, know the people that can give him results very fast. That's number one. And then number two, he has to look at the laws, the bylaws of INEC. Thank God he's a professor of law. He's going to look at the bylaws of INEC and so on. However, again, he needs to be able, he needs to be able to not only articulate those bylaws, but to make sure that they work.
Olamide, let me come to you here. We know he's in law, and a lot of people describe him as being strict but fair. He's fair, but he's very strict. Now, I want to ask the question that, looking at 2027, the president has said, okay, this is the president, he's still going under screening and everything. But do you think that he's going to be able to follow the legacies that Yakubu had followed in talking about technology? Because we know how, Yakubu brought a lot of technology when it comes to INEC. Do you think he'll be able to follow through with this?
Absolutely, Ria. Like you rightly said, and we've said here, I think everybody's excited about the fact that, his strength lies in the legal profession. He has an understanding of law and what it means to implement that law and put that law in place. However, the real test will now be applying that law in Nigeria's unique electoral space, navigating the intricacies of Nigerian elections, the ballot stealing, the vote buying, all of those intricacies. It's one thing to know law, it's a completely different thing to implement it, especially in a unique electoral space like Nigeria. But I will say this, unfortunately for him, he has inherited a credibility crisis. For the longest time, we've had INEC chairmen come in and the public is already distrust. We say he's full of integrity and he's this and he's that, but the public is already, so he's inherited a credibility crisis. And so the issue will now be for him to restore public faith in the ballot, as well as modernize the process. You know what I mean? Find that middle ground between the
balance, actually. Ibrahim,
but I think it's, sorry, one more thing. I think it's also great that he's from the North Central. I think this is very symbolic for our president. It's a zone that is often, I wouldn't say ignored, but it's a zone that is often, it's seen as a religious and political middle ground. I think this is a great place to start. With.
But Ibrahim, let me come to you here. Just like Olamide has been saying, right now, he's already there. People are already criticizing him. You wonder why they're criticizing him. INEC is a position that when you're there, they will always say, oh, you didn't do it this way, you didn't do it that way. So he already has enemies. He's not started the job yet, but he already has enemies. But now, he now needs to make us believe in voting again. I said earlier on this table yesterday, the youths, some of them have lost hope in voting. Do you think that he is going to be able to give us that hope again to go out and vote?
Well, the devil is in the detail. That remains to be seen how he's going to do it. But one thing that I'm so proud of is that we happen to be like the first person to mention it in Nigeria, especially on TV, that is most likely going to be Professor Joash.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, during the newspaper review.
Yeah,
so even at the time, we're saying, well, it has not been ratified, it has not been announced, and then thankfully it was announced yesterday. So meaning that we have our eyes and ears
on the ground.
On the ground. So one thing is, I love the fact that you said the youth are quite lethargic when it comes to the electioneering process. So he has a whole lot of burdens on him, you know, right there that is falling on his lap. The thing there is, it should not be an opportunity for him to enrich his family. Because it's going to be a litmus test for him. 2027 is a huge one, it's a huge game. Professor of law, we expect that electoral law is strengthened, and then it also, you know, works again against ballot snatching, ballot stuffing, ensuring that the technology that Mahmoud Yakubu brought on board, you know, is also, you know, very functional. And then we need more people to also register to be captured, you know, for the as a part of the electorate. So that Mahmoud Yakubu actually took us from certain numbers, and then it took us highest in Africa. So we want someone like this, like him, to also take us to the higher ground. So one other thing is the timely conduct of election, which we expect that, well, Mahmoud Yakubu also ensured that we have the electoral calendars. So everyone knows when the election comes. If you talk about the Ekiti election that is coming up very soon, Anambra election later this year, you know, so many elections coming up. So we already have the timetable. So all the logistics, lateness of INEC officials getting to the polling booth and all of that. So it is, let's just talk the family. It is not the time for them to say, this is our turn to share from the national cake.
Let me tell you something. I love the fact that we have other upcoming elections. It's a way to also see, you know, how he'll perform before the big day. But what I want to say about this is that I just hope that we stand with that integrity, because he's coming with a lot of integrity. A lot of people backed him, you know, when the president called the name. You know, sometimes they can call a name and they'll be like, oh, not this person. But even, you know, the governor of Kogi, Ododo, actually said he's a man of integrity.
Absolutely. I just, sorry.
You know, when Jega was appointed, we had the same narrative, a man of integrity, this and that and that and that. But at the end of the day, did he show much of that? I am hoping that Amupitan will show that integrity, especially in these smaller elections before the main one. You know, and if he does that, that confidence deficit that we have
will be boosted again.
Will be boosted.
Absolutely, but I also just want to say, you know, this man has been thrown, not thrown per se, but into the helm of power. The whole of Nigeria, indeed, maybe perhaps even the world is watching him. And let's not remember that he's not going to do this alone. As citizens, we must come out in our number. We must work on that voter apathy that you talked about. We must stand in integrity. We must stand against vote buying. We have to work in conjunction with him. He's not alone. He's
definitely
working for us and with us.
Have to work together with him. But all I'll say is that, you know, we've heard you're a man of integrity. We hope to see it, you know, during your tenure as INEC chairman. But we're going to move quickly into this story where an indigene of Ile-Ife, Harrietta Babatunde Oralusi, has declared his intention to run for the 2026 Osun governorship election.